Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Sports Card Advantage podcast. This is episode 76. We are in October. It is October 1st at 8:39 p.m. on Saturday. As always, joined by the best sports card co-host in the business, Mr. Bunk. What's going on, buddy?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Fantastic. Survived Hurricane Ian. But I mean, I guess when it hit me in North Carolina, it was Tropical Storm Ian. We got knocked around with some wind, but obviously nowhere near with what everybody's going through in Florida. Definitely some crazy shit down there. So thoughts and prayers for those that are dealing with Ian
Yeah,
down in
absolutely.
Florida. You know,
Been a slow hobby week for me.
slow hobby
Haven't,
week for you.
haven't really done much. No,
It's been a
I
slow hobby week for a lot of people.
no. How so?
No, I mean the market, it's soft, I mean people don't want to talk about it, but the economy is
Yeah,
recession,
it
inflation,
sucks. It sucks. So things
and
things suffer, and the hobby suffers. That's fine.
yeah.
So us collectors are living large right now.
Are you though? I mean, yes, you're getting stuff cheaper than it was, but it was already inflated, so it's just like, where are you going to be in 3 months, 6 months? Are you
But that's
happy?
the thing. Collectors aren't worried about where we're gonna be because you're keeping the stuff. You're building sets. You're doing stuff like that.
Yeah, I get it, but if
Not
there's if
me.
there's
I'm
a
telling you, the
card.
majority of the world isn't wondering what's my card worth in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I get that, but at the same time,
Okay.
if you buy a card right now for $500, and that same card you could get in a month or 2 months from now for $400 or $350, it's not going to bother you. But you spent
Say
an extra.
what was the initial price?
Let's say the card. So the card market's obviously going, and we completely are fucking off the show agenda, but we're gonna roll with it.
Well, that's
Um,
part of it.
so let's say that the card right now, we're in agreement that the card market is heading downward.
Yeah.
So card right now is $500, but then you see the same card in a month from now at $400 and 2 months from now at $350. It's not going to bother you that you paid $500 for that card.
Oh yeah, it would. It would, but I'd also probably know not to have bought it at the $500. Is my kind of get. I'm
Well,
not buying a $500
the
card.
point
I'm
that
buying a 50-cent card.
I get it, but I'm just trying to put into words here as far as where it will affect people. The point that you just said is, as a collector, you're happy because you're buying stuff and it doesn't matter. But if you're spending more than 50 cents on a card, it does matter because do you buy now as a collector because it's 30% cheaper than it was 6 months ago, or do you sit on your wallet for another 30, 60, 90 days to see where this market's going to go?
Yeah, you probably got to sit.
I mean,
If you want to spend, if you're spending bigger money than I am, yeah, you should sit and wait and see.
well, yes, if you're spending 50 cents and it's 35 cents fucking 2 months from now, then
Yeah.
yeah, the 15 cents isn't going to kill you. But at the same time, if you're buying cards that are tens, hundreds, thousands of dollars, the writing's on the wall right now that the market, not only the hobby market is soft, but you look at other alternative asset markets, watches, cars, crypto, NFTs, art, take your pick across the board. Everything is soft and down and continuing to head down. There's a lot of chatter as far as real estate market, both personal and commercial, that's going to continue to go down. There isn't an end in sight as far as Feds raising rates and inflation continuing to rise. So in my opinion, at this point, cash is a position. And it's a very popular term in financial markets. Cash is a position means you sit and you don't buy. And I think that unfortunately that a lot of the social media influencers out there in the hobby market are portraying everything as like booming and great. But, yes, the shows are crowded, but it's just guys looking for deals. It doesn't necessarily mean that the market is strong. And
Yeah, and then meanwhile, I was just looking at the Topps Chrome logo fractor boxes are starting to come out, and the singles are out.
What are
And I was looking.
those? Just I have no idea what they are.
That
So what are
is so
those?
it's essentially a blaster box of Topps Chrome cards, and then inside has 2 5-card packs of the logo fractor card. So
What's a what's a logo
you know how
fractor?
the Bowman Chrome has the mega box and it's got that
Yeah,
funky design, the mega
the
barrel. So
Mojo.
so
Yeah.
so this is the MLB logo, like stained through the background.
Ah, got it. So it's
So
like the
they're calling it logo fractor. So there's 2 5-card packs in the box. But I was looking, there's a Judge to 199. So 2022 Judge, and I know he's at 61 home runs and there's a lot of hype. So it's gonna finish over $200, if not higher, for a card out of 199. Any other 2022 of his out of 199 would never come anywhere near that. So
well,
people spending money on things
Judge
that they want.
Judge is the exception here. I mean,
Yeah, I know, but
it's not.
still,
I mean, Judge is the exception, not the rule.
50 of these are going to sell, and then in December, and 51st one's going to pop up, and it's going to sell for $50.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's the thing.
I mean, I
Anything.
know it always happens, but that just seems absurd for a
And,
card that high
well,
numbered.
I mean, you're talking about a historical season in baseball. I mean,
Yeah, no, I get it. The
this
hype
hasn't
train's
happened.
high.
This hasn't happened, especially with somebody who is considered legit and non-steroid.
Yeah, I
In
know that's been the Twitter banter all week. Is people saying, why are we talking about this? He's nowhere near Bonds, and the other people are playing the clean card.
well, I mean,
I'm just playing. He tied Maris. Other than
yeah, I
that, I don't.
mean, as a Yankee, it's very significant,
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
I'll take McGuire and Sosa and Bonds and basically throw all of them out because they all fucking were, ridiculously juiced up when they set single season records or and Judge is doing it clean and he's doing it as a Yankee. And that's a massive deal for him to break the Yankee records, and I think that obviously the Yankee market's the biggest in baseball. So that affects his hobby prices dramatically. People want a
Yeah,
piece of this season.
yeah.
I mean,
Off tangent, but anyway, just new hype buying, and in addition to it's a new product, new hype buying, so things are just bonkers.
yeah. But
And then meanwhile, cards that should be going for higher aren't.
well, that's because the market
No,
is,
I know,
you
but
know,
let's hop on the Judge that I can get $100 cheaper in a couple months.
well, I mean, that's the whole thing. Sit and wait.
But
And
that's circling back to my point about I'm probably not buying that $500 card right now because I know not to buy it right now.
yeah, I mean, anything that you're looking at right now, if you're looking at baseball right now, I'd be waiting until November, December, or at the earliest. And then once the season's over, World Series is done, and a month goes by and people forget about baseball and the market is soft and the economy is soft, that's when you start to look for potential deals and just try to get an idea. Are things going sideways? Are things going down? If they're going sideways, then you may find an opportunity to get in. If things are going down, then let them keep going down until the market builds a bottom. And right now we're seeing a massive gap get filled in prices from when things shot up, in the pandemic pricing. There's that massive 10x, acceleration in the market now when things are coming back down. I know it's sports cards and not financial trading, but usually most gaps and large moves up get filled on the downside, and that's where we are right now. So I would sit tight. I see these guys on Instagram, and I'm not going to name names and shout people out, but they're in some cases doing a disservice because every video they get on and say the sports card market is strong and the show is packed and we're getting great deals and yada yada. But you got to remember, these guys are buying and selling in a week. They're buying live and using online comps to sell. So, they'll get it for 60 or 70% of retail and then sell it for 80% or 90% of retail. They'll make their money. There's no eBay fees or anything else for most of us that can't get to shows every weekend. And, they're painting a false picture.
Yeah, and they all put out lists. They all put out here are the 8 guys I'm looking for. So by the time those 8 names make the rounds, they've accumulated what they wanted and they've pumped everything, whether they're trying to or not. It just happened.
Yeah.
Everyone sees this stuff. Everyone knows everything now.
Yeah.
for the most part.
Yep.
So, oh, look, these 10 guys are pumping these 10 guys. So everyone starts sniffing around and looking, and they've already accumulated the cards by the time you start looking to buy, and things start shooting up.
Yeah. And
I'm not mocking them for it.
no, not
I'm
at
just
all.
saying it's just everyone sees it. Like,
Yeah.
I,
It's
I
it
get it. You're buying these 8 guys, and then by indirect relationship, those prices are going to come up because other people say, "Oh, if he's in on it, I'm in on it."
Yeah. And it's not always the best to follow these guys because these guys are living a completely different life than you in the hobby. They're going to shows every single weekend. They have tens of thousands of followers on social media
$10.
that they get to offer them cards, and in certain cases these guys just want to deal with the person who is their hobby hero,
Yep.
and they'll sell it for less than they should. And so these guys they have access to a different buying pool than you do, and they have access to thousands of followers. They have access to just a better market than you're going to see as a casual buyer who goes to one show or two shows a year, and you're buying most of your stuff on eBay or other online sources. So do your, we have beaten this drum to death. Do your homework, check your comps. And right now, unless the deal is just absolutely insane as far as the price you're getting something for, I'm sitting on my wallet, and keeping cash. Like the whole show for today's theme is, should you be buying, and where's the hype, and all that. And we got on this tangent here at the beginning, but it's good to set some groundwork as far as where we see the market right now.
Yeah, and then where are we in 12 months if it's not easy to make 10x? There's a lot of people trying to do that.
It's not easy to
What
make
happened?
2x right now.
No, I know. Then they're not going to. Those individuals aren't going to put any effort in anymore,
Well, and that's the whole thing.
and then they'll leave.
It's going to be, if the market continues to go down, and at every 5-10% that the market goes down, there's certain people that are leaving. But it's just a question of right now, where are they going? Because there isn't money to be made in crypto. There isn't money to be made in NFTs for the most part. Those markets are in similar sideways to downward motions than the sports card market. But the difference is you can short those products versus you can't really short sports cards. You can't say I want to sell Patrick Mahomes card, and if it goes down $500, then you're going to make that $500. But in financial products, you can do that. So
Right.
I don't know. I don't know where we're going to be in 12 months, but I think that this could be a reset for the last few years coming up here in the next 12 months.
Oh yeah, the going was too good.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Going was too good.
even after the pullback through all of 21, and through the second half of 21 and 22, we're still 3, 4, 5x from where we were when we first shot up in the first 6 months of 2020. So I think there's still a lot of correction to be done, and I think some of that gap's going to get filled, and it'll normalize itself. And all those people that came in for the quick and easy buck are on their way out.
Yeah, and I think we have months and months left of the reset you're speaking of.
Yeah,
I don't think we're anywhere near uh ground.
yeah. And I mean, granted, don't get me wrong, there are definitely opportunities to make money. But the interesting part about it is now it's more about finding on field performance that has a market. Obviously, Aaron Judge over the last, X amount of months has been a massive, gainer. You could have made 3 or 4x if you were buying Judge at the beginning of the season, or in the off season. But that's, nobody knew he was going to hit 61 home runs this year, 62,
No,
wherever he's going
you
to
can't,
wind up.
and it's not good practice to try to predict those things either.
No, I mean, the only thing you can try to do is catch stuff, on the way up.
Way up, right? Yeah,
It's,
identify a hot trend and
yeah,
catch it on the way up. But I think a big mistake a lot of collectors do is they're so worried about getting a piece of everyone, so that they feel like they have something of everyone and they can capitalize it. But
it's
you're
the
gonna just take
FOMO. It's the
Yeah, but you're gonna take more L's that way.
yeah. I
I'd,
mean,
I'd rather focus on a few, and if I take that, I'll have the same or less number of L's, and I might have a couple more W's that way,
yeah, you got to focus
or
on
bigger W's, I would
one
say.
sport, or 8 or 10 guys, or whatever it is, where you can know their prices and their cards inside and out, versus like you hear a headline on ESPN or whatever else, and you're like, oh, I got to get on that guy.
Yeah,
So it's just a matter of buying at the right times, off seasons, or as seasons get started and guys get hot, or when the rumblings start happening, and basically sticking it out, and seeing where it goes. And that leads us to the next part of our conversation. uh, I found it very interesting that Zion's starting to resurface. There's starting to be pictures, media day,
lean and
videos.
mean Zion.
Yeah, lean and mean Zion. And, there's no hype. And, I'm trying to figure out whether or not this is that opportunity to take a shot on somebody like Zion. Right now, the pictures that are coming out, he looks even thinner than he did beginning of last season, before he blew up after he hurt his foot and whatever else. He looks like probably 15, 20 pounds lighter, more muscular. He himself says he's faster, he's jumping higher. They were on the court today. There's video of him doing like crazy dunks. But if you look at his card market is flat to down over the last few months, which is interesting to me, because if he goes out, like, I mean, Zion's always been a fan favorite. People love Zion, and if he goes out and dominates, and averages 25, 30 points a game, and grabbing 8 or 10 rebounds, and the Pelicans are winning because they signed a bunch of other guys. I mean, that's the other thing too to remember here, is they got a good shot to make the playoffs this year. And if he's a part of that and can actually stay healthy, I mean, in my opinion, it could be something that goes. We'll stick to what we normally do, and just for the sake of volume of cards, and we'll go Prism Silver, PSA 9. Um, in July, the range, it's been in a range between 350 and 500. I mean, last sale of this card was yesterday for 489. This card in 2021 was selling for 800. And do I think there's a possibility that it can get back there? Yeah, I mean, there are the Pop's 2500, so it's not small, but it's not massive like some of his other cards. And I do think that there's a massive hype around him, where his stuff could be, shoot up.
Right, but why haven't we seen that artificial or organic hype yet? Why aren't people talking about him? Because tons of people are sitting on his stuff. So you think they'd start chattering away here, trying to
Well, it depends on where
trying to get it going.
you bought it. If you bought it at 800, you're not
Well,
chattering yet.
that's where most people did buy it.
Yeah, I mean, because even at that, and his like, and the other thing too, his optic hollow, PSA 10, last sold 485. This card's actually been going down. In March, this card was selling for 750, and the last sale was 485. So it's just like, I can't explain that to you, other than the market as a whole is soft. I mean, the pop on this is 528, so that's not big at all. And the last sale, September 25th, for 485. I mean, I'm trying to think of other bigger brands, to look at stuff to see his market.
But have you looked around, like in basketball? Is all the money going towards the newest guys?
I mean, we can
Because
look
it
at.
just seems to me, once somebody reaches, hype, 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 get drafted, hype, 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 get the call up, unless they stay on frigging fire doing ungodly things, the attention goes away. because the attention's already on the next draft class, and that's where the money's going. Unless you're just staying up and doing unspeakable things, performance wise. That's been what I've been noticing lately, more than ever.
So
Like Wander prices gone. Even before he got hurt, Julio Rodriguez, unless it was super rare, like there's so much of his stuff out, you get good deals on some of his stuff.
I'm trying to
Just
look at some of the indexes on Card Ladder as far as daily dollar change. This is I don't know why that's listed. I
for
mean,
Zion overall, you mean?
no, just for where the money's going.
Oh,
So some rare '90s Jordan. Um, saw some pretty big increases in value. 1996 metal Kobe, cyber metal, so a rare refractor. Um, vintage Jerry West, 1985 Michael Jordan, the promo card. 1986 Fleer Jordan, 96 Kobe, 2019 Prism Silver Zion. So that's up. That's up a little bit.
that was the only modern card you mentioned just now.
Yeah, 1960s Oscar Robertson, some 2003 LeBron stuff. That's numbered LeBron stuff from 2003. Some stuff Tyrese Maxey, 98 Fleer John Stockton, and all this stuff is like minimal as far as its price increases. So it looks to be basically before 2000 as far as where the money's going. There's not a ton of stuff obviously some of the hype around, some of the new class and the patch autos and some of that stuff that's, really expensive. But even that, you're seeing prices come down across the board on everything. On everything. One of the guys from the Luka Tiger LeBron podcast did a thing on it. The 2000 Contenders playoff ticket auto Brady that sold at one of the auction houses, Heritage Auction House, for $880,000 last night. And as of 12 to 18 months ago, that card sold for over $2 million. So even Brady, who was regarded as obviously the greatest football player of all time, not off to the hottest of starts, but his performance right now with the Bucs shouldn't influence his cards that much where they're a third of the price.
Yeah. So you're saying that's more economy related than
People aren't spending
hobby related?
$2 million on cardboard anymore.
Yeah.
You look at even some of the other luxury items, watches, cars. Both of those markets are super soft, and there's inventory, and there are people trying to dump out of Rolexes and sports cars and some of that too, because they need cash. People need cash right now. They don't want to be sitting on these assets that they may not be able to liquidate, especially if things continue to go to shit.
Right.
And people are doing the same thing in cards. The Jordan 86 Fleer PSA 10 Jordan, the high on that was what, $700,000? Sold for $170,000.
Damn.
Even when it was in its groove as far as like what it was regularly selling for, like $300 to $350. The last sale on that Jordan card is $170,000. And
that's not good if you bought it for $7.
It's not good if you bought it for $350.
Yeah. But listen, everything's cyclical. You having a piece of the action there, and then I don't know how long you have to wait for it to go up, but you got time on your hands. It's a good piece to have.
Yeah, last sale, $174,000 on the 24th of September, so it was a week ago. And the pop on it isn't going anywhere, so it's still at 322. I think the pop was like 318. 6 months to a year ago.
So that card's gonna go up and down. It's a big swing. If I paid that kind of money, I wouldn't be excited about that kind of swing. But
so here's the interesting part of this.
But a collector now owns an iconic card, and yes, while it may slightly bother him behind the scenes, it's still a collector now owns that card, and it's going to swing and have a cyclical effect with the prices.
So here's the interesting thing: pre-COVID, the '86 Fleer Jordan is selling for $40,000. and then COVID rocked.
PSA 10.
Yeah, PSA 10, 40
All right.
grand. At January 2020, this card was selling for $40,000. So obviously, 175 from there, you're still talking 4 plus X from that. But, I'd be curious to see if this fills the
It's
gap.
going to keep going down
Yeah,
then.
if it fills the gap on this, because here's what happened. It went from 40,000 to 90,000 basically in the period of 45 days, and then 125,000 by October, and 208,000 by December, and then 350 by January of 2021. Then it hit 720 in January 2021, and then it crashed. Then the whole market crashed, and then everything just fucking tanked. And then this thing shot down to 450 in March of 2021, and it just kept plummeting. It's filling the gap, and that's basically where we're at right now.
Right. So I can absolutely see that thing coming down more.
Which is crazy
But
because it's not a high pop card. It's an
no,
expensive,
but that's
rarer
the other
card.
thing.
There's only 300 of them.
You see something you want, you hop on it at the price that it's at if you're comfortable with it, because you might not see it again, or you might not see it again at the price you want.
If there's 300 of them, I'm holding. I'm chilling. I'm not paying the highest price. If
Yeah, but
there's
how many of those are in collectors' hands? It ain't going anywhere.
obviously they seem to be
A
pretty,
couple.
yeah, they seem to be pretty readily available. I mean, if you go to a recent sale, September 24th, September 23rd, 17th, 10th. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in September that came up for sale.
None of them look like the same picture and deal or in cards. That is happening more than ever lately. Is cards are getting sold and they're just not either getting paid for or their buddies buying them. If they don't pay for it, then they relist it just to get the comp on the board.
Um,
I've been running like like a sting operation on a bunch of cards because I can see the pictures exactly the same, and you're just chugging the prices up on some of these cards, but they're never changing hands.
so the last few that I'm seeing were PWCC, Golden,
Okay, so all
um,
places that you can't do that shit.
Heritage. Yeah, I mean, all these places. If you're
Brian's
bidding,
cards
yeah, if
selling
you're
a PSA
bidding on
10.
these cards, you got to be vetted.
Yeah.
None of these are eBay. All these places are auction houses where if you're bidding that kind of money, you're vetted and you can't shill them.
No,
But
no, no. They're all legit.
I mean, shit. Even back in August, this card was sold for 215, and now we hit 174. That's 26 and 15. That's that's $41,000 difference inside of 7 or 8 weeks. That's nuts, dude.
Ah, makes sense with everything else we're seeing.
Yeah, but back to the original point as far as Zion is concerned. If you like him, I don't know. I think he's got a shot in the fact that he hasn't really done much on the court in the last couple seasons. If he steps out and stays healthy and plays a full season, which is a big, 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 big if. But I think there's potential there to possibly make some money.
This probably won't age well, but he's probably going to have to be leading the league in scoring, and it's going to have to be 3/4 of the way through the season, and he hasn't missed a game other than load management. And then maybe we'll see the prices go.
I don't know. I
I think
mean,
it's going to take more than that, or at least that, to get the prices to move.
well, we're gonna see. As I said, he is a highlight reel in and of himself, and that
No
kind of
doubt.
that kind of stuff gets guys hyped, and that kind of stuff drives purchases. People are FOMO, and I think you could have two waves of stuff happen. I think over the preseason and the first 10 games of the regular season, if he's playing well and the team looks good and they're winning games and he's dropping 25, 30 a night and dunking on people, I think you'll see some increases in prices. And then as maybe becomes more commonplace, things may go flat or go soft until we get to that 3/4 point. And if the Pelicans are in the hunt and they're going to make the playoffs and he's playing every game and they could go, be looking at potential competition for the East, then it becomes a whole nother ball game too. So, all right, let's move on. We're sticking with the theme of where the state of the market is, and what, where you should be and what you should be doing. We're gonna move into another topic of, is grading worth it anymore for investors, flippers? Um, Obviously, if you're a collector, it's a whole nother conversation. You buy your stuff, you submit your stuff, you get it graded, you sit on it. It doesn't matter whether or not it's break even or profitable or whatever right now, because you're going to be holding it for a while. So this is more, for the flipper and the investor. Is it even worth it to grade anymore? Um, since I've been talking for a while, I'm going to kick it over to you. Let's start with baseball. I know you did a bunch of, you pulled a bunch of things together. Where am I pulling prices from?
In terms of pulling it up on the screen.
Yes, in terms of pulling it up on the screen.
Let's look at I don't know if Carlotta has it, but they have a 2019 Bowman Chrome Draft Gunnar Henderson auto.
Let's see if they have Gunnar Henderson at all.
They should.
No, they do not. Is it two N's or one?
Gunnar.
Yeah, no, they have no Gunnar Henderson at all. So market movers.
No, I just do my own. I didn't even use the charts. I just looked stuff up.
Okay, wonderful.
I know you love your charts. I got the numbers. I can discuss it for you. I just know you like to have it up in front of you.
I like visuals for the fucking 72 people that watch us on YouTube. I like visuals.
Well, you can't just use the only data that we can show on a screen. A lot of cards out there that aren't on Card Ladder.
Gunnar Henderson, 2019 Bowman Draft.
Yeah, just the base auto.
Not the Chrome Prospect auto?
Yeah, that.
Okay. So, what the fuck? Jesus Christ. Market Movers did a whole fucking changeroo on everything.
I haven't been on it in a while.
Son of a bitch. View on charts. Yeah, go back to the way it was so I knew where shit was.
They changed the whole layout.
The whole thing has changed. It used to be able to select multiple different grading things. Okay, so I got. All right. You can add 5 more cards. Go fuck yourselves. The old way was better. All right, so I have raw prices at last sale was $190. Is that what you?
Yeah, last 3 auctions were 190, 180, 177. Last 3 buy it nows were 200, an outlier at 135 and 210. So they're all averaging right about the same price there. The only way with this card that you're going to do anything with is with a PSA 10. So, you and I were discussing earlier about maybe checking out the gem rate to see if it's even worthwhile with the current stories coming out of PSA camp about potential for a 10. But, a BGS 9.5 recent auction got netted 305. PSA 10 is 600. PSA 9, however, was 214. And an SGC 10 did extraordinarily well at 297.
But even that, all right. So let's.
It's still, yeah, but still,
let's run the numbers. Let's assume you're buying and selling on eBay.
And 175, I got it for.
For what? What are you talking about?
You're saying if I bought it raw?
No, yeah. I have 190 as the last raw sale.
Okay, all right, then use that.
Okay, so you buy that on eBay. Let's say you're sending it to SGC, so that's $25.
Yeah.
Ish. And then you're selling it on eBay. So that means you'll have to sell it for at least $266 to make a profit.
Right, which will get you $30.
Yeah.
If you get that for
it. If you get the SGC 10. If you get anything other than an SGC 10.
Anything less, yeah, SGC 9.5, you're going to be
lose.
upside down.
PSA 10, you lose. PSA 9, you lose. I mean,
PSA 10, you win.
Yeah, that's what I meant. PSA 10, PSA 10, SGC 10, BGS 9.5. If the card gems, you're a winner. Otherwise, you're a loser across the board. And
well, some people would argue $30 win is worth it.
No, I wouldn't.
Well, yeah, for me, you have to do it 10 times over.
Well, you have to get an SGC. Okay, so a 9 grade is worth it with a $30 win. A 10 grade with a $30 win is not worth it
Yeah,
for
I
me.
understand what you're saying. I'm just saying without that aside, $30 wins a $30 win. But yes, the risk reward here is a problem because you have no potential getting bailed out by a slight misgrade here.
Yes. And that's going to be a theme with a lot of the stuff that we talk about as far as, where the raw is versus the 9 versus the 10 across the board with the grading companies, that, you are taking a massive risk for reward if you're trying to make profit. Because
Right. And while they still exist, there are still some cards where the 9 is still a nice turn for you. They are becoming few and far between.
correct. And what else do you have on your list?
So I did a little Julio Rodriguez for the people. So that's 2019 Bowman Chrome draft. I looked at the base and I looked at the refractor. That way we had a little low end, a little higher end.
2019 Bowman Chrome Julio. Mega Box Chrome.
No, not the Mega.
Just Prospects Chrome.
Yep, just Prospects Chrome and then Prospects Chrome Refractor at a $4.99. So you tell me which one you pulled up. I can run through a little bit for you.
All right, I have Prospects Chrome up right now.
All right. So where you have the last sale, $44, $43.
On Raw.
Yeah, on Raw.
They don't have Raw. I just have
Okay,
PSA
so the
9
last
and
Raw was $44, and I got a BGS 9.5 at $125. I got a PSA 10 at $155, PSA 9 at $75, and an SGC 10 at $109.
Yeah, I wouldn't touch this. I wouldn't even buy it. I would not even buy it. Even if you almost guaranteed me a 10, I wouldn't buy it, just because we're in a downward market. And you buy, let's say you bought it to try to get that PSA 10, and you can 5x the card. It's going to cost you $30 to grade, so that $44 then changes to $74 right out of the gate, and then you're going to lose X percent buying and selling on eBay, so that's going to be at least another 25, $30, and you're going to wait 3 months for that $30 level from PSA, taking you into the off season. Unless the Mariners win the World Series, I would say that, you will potentially wind up upside down, even with a PSA 10. His market peaked in July this year, and this card. We'll look at it on the PSA 10. On this card was selling for $250 to $300 in the summer, and last sale on PSA 10 was $135.
It's even lower than I got. Yeah.
I have last sale September 30th, $134.92, which means it's an auction.
Yeah, and that's the thing about how the media can mess things up. I didn't dig deep into his injury, but the headlines say, when they use, how they're dramatic they are, like things like Mariners are overly concerned about Julio Rodriguez's back. They just do stuff, but that's our society, put fear into everybody over everything. So I'm sure people took a step back, like, oh, Julio, back hurts. Look at like Trout's back, and he hits 20 home runs.
Yeah, very true. So speaking of Mr. Trout, let's look at his
you got a Trout for us, guy?
I got a Trout for you, guy. I tried to pick a couple of modern guys, and then stuff that's a little bit guys that are still playing, but a little bit older. So look at the Topps 2011 Topps update, Mike Trout. The raw on this.
This card is well south from 2020.
Yeah, this card peaked at 7,000. Last sale was 1,650.
Get out of here! It's that low?
Yeah. Can you give me a raw? Yeah. Can you give me a raw on this last raw sale?
Yeah. Oh my god. I was telling people in 2020 they were nuts for buying Trout PSA 9s and 10s on this card, and they laughed at me. And I hope they sold, because if they haven't sold already, They took a bath.
Yeah, that's more than a bath. Dude, this new interface for market movers is garbaggio.
Now I got to get on there and check it out because I don't think I've
I
seen
mean,
it.
maybe once I get used to it, it'll be better, but it's like when I tried to search for a new card, it added the Mike Trout to the Gunnar Henderson chart, and it's like, that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted a whole new guy.
Well, clearly they didn't beta test with you, huh?
Apparently, they did not give me a heads up that this was coming. Here we go.
Let's.
I got it.
I got a couple in the 400s here.
Last Raw, I got 899 on the last Raw, and then 600.
I got one at 461 on the 27th, 399 on the 27th.
Where are you getting that from?
130, dude.
Fair enough. Apparently, Market Movers is not.
I mean, the pictures look beat from what I'm looking at,
Yeah.
so it didn't do any, people looking to. I mean, people pretty much, if you're buying this card raw, you're looking to grade it at this point. So if the pictures are terrible, but yeah, I see on the 26th, I see your 898.
Yeah, so it looks like the range on this is 400 to 9.
Yeah, it depends how clean it looks.
900 on the raw side, with everything in between. PSA. All right, let's see. Maybe we can try to use this thing to our advantage. Okay, so now I'm getting a little bit of a feel for it. Okay. All right, I'll step back on bashing the new Market Movers interface. If you get the hang of it, it's a little bit easier. So actually, this is pretty visual. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see the PSA 9 and the Raws literally crossing over each other for the last 90 days, 180 days.
Okay.
And then the PSA 10 is just a downward spiral. So the Raw and PSA 9 market has gone sideways for the last 6 months, and they've crossed over each other, and obviously it's just a matter of whether or not you can get a clean copy at a decent price, as far as whether or not it's worth grading. Because it's like, for example, on the 21st, you have Raw selling for $543 and PSA 9 selling for $743. So is there room there? A little bit.
Yeah, you got a little net to fall into at least.
Yeah. But at the same time, the gem rate for this card is atrocious.
That's exactly what I was going to say. The odds that you're 10ing something you're buying on eBay at this point of that card is probably pretty rare. You almost have to assume you're getting a 9.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You're buying
even if it looks perfect
for a 9. Let's see. All right.
I got to send mine in one of these days because I'm in them for nothing.
Interesting. You want to take a guess on the gem rate of this card?
Well, since he's superstar Mike Trout, my guess is the closed door meeting said we got to give this guy some 10. So I'm going to go, the gem rate's 45%.
You're not far off, guys. 49%. That's pretty freaking surprising for a 2011 paper card.
Not when people make rules behind closed doors.
I guess, but...
And that was back in PSA's heyday. Everything's a 12.
Yeah.
So...
I mean, that's still pretty crazy that the gem rate's 49%. So, I mean, I don't know if you're getting 49% anymore.
Yeah, every day that goes by, that percentage got to trickle down, I'd imagine.
Can you click on this? And does it go anywhere in gem rate as far as tops update? Yeah, no, it doesn't do anything. I was hoping to get a graph to see if it shows us over the course of history, the gem rate for the card. But anyway, so even that, it's just like, the 9 and the Raws are so close together that, it's tough, and especially with the market being where it is, at certain points, they're $300 apart. At other points, you could be buying a Raw for more than a PSA 9 if it's a clean copy, online. So it's definitely a crapshoot, and it's becoming less and less valuable because it used to be you could buy the Raw for $700 or whatever it is, and the PSA 10 was selling for 6, 7x or more. So if you actually hit it, it'd be super worthwhile. But now it's only like 2x. So if you don't hit it, you're either flat or upside down, and so then it's a bigger, much bigger risk.
Yeah, they have a view card trend over time section
Where
on GemRate under the population data. I just don't know if that's going to show you.
trend over time. Ooh,
I, I don't know if that's just pop trend over time or if that's going to be rate over time.
let's find out.
And yeah, if you've never played with GemRate.com, it's
Yeah, shout out to Ryan as always.
I mean, there's definitely some cool stuff in here.
There were no results. Let's take the card number out.
Yeah, they won't let you submit it without the card number.
Bastards. It's card 174 or 175? 174?
Once it's US 175. That could be it. Oh, you know what? Is your thing say basketball, not baseball?
It says baseball.
Oh, it says baseball?
Yeah.
Oh, I got it. Yeah, my drop down. You have to put. Yeah, my drop down was set to basketball, and when I switch it to baseball, now it works.
I have baseball 2011 Topps update. Mike Trout parallel base.
Card US 175
with a space.
No
space.
No space, and then it'll pop up for you.
Aha, there we go. Okay.
Oh, look, so it does show you the gem rate over time.
Yeah, and it went from back in 2003, the gem rate on this card was 54%, now down to 48.5% in as of October 1st, 2022.
So you mean April 2021? You said 2003. You're talking April 2021?
Oh, duh. Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
I'm retarded and misread the date.
Yeah, and there's no filters to go earlier than that.
But even that, I mean, you got to figure that is a potentially larger downtrend. I mean, the card was gemming at 55% 18 months ago.
Yeah. So look, if you scroll down in that box below, you scroll all the way to the bottom. Yeah, in April of 2021, it was 54%, and then shows you the total grades. And then as you scroll up, it's now down in what? That's a 18-month period. It went from 54% to 49% are being gemmed.
Yeah, you're telling me PSA is giving out less fucking 10s. Yeah. Well, I mean,
not on this card.
Yeah. Well, they are on this card. They were.
Well, yeah, 5% not that great though.
That's a big difference, dude. Gem rate of 55%
down to 49%. But in this case, not that I'm trying to defend PSA, but in this case, it's been slow over time.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Over the last 18 months, I mean,
But it's almost like PSA turned a switch. Like I'd expect it to be 55, 55, 54, 54, 54, 54, 48. Like that kind of a change, not 1% every 5 months.
Well, scroll down. I mean,
there was no more than a 1% drop in any period that they showed here. If you scroll, there's no more than a 1% drop over any month period there. Although this goes by day.
Yeah, it's days guy.
What the? This is some crazy data.
Dude, he nerds it out right there for you. But even still, it looks to be trending in the wrong direction if you're trying to get a PSA 10 is the point that we're trying to make.
Yes, that's the takeaway.
Rambled for the last 10 minutes about it. All right, let's move. Let's keep it moving. We have basketball and football that we want to talk about as well. So some hope, I guess, we can look at. 2020 Justin Herbert. There is some opportunities with Herbie. So if you look at his silver raw, last sold on the silver raw was $250. This card is, for some reason, obviously with his injury and things, people are slightly scared of what's going on with that. So there was a sale at $250. A best offer, somebody took it. So last auction was $335. The PSA 9s are going for $490. So an auction at $3 and change with $490 on a PSA 9. If you can get it in for the $50 rate, you could probably make a little bit of money on the 9, and then if you do get the 10 is obviously very much worthwhile. You're looking at a basically 8x on that, and the gem rate, I believe, for 2020 Prism is pretty high. Football 2020 Prism Herbert.
It's the only thing with these drop down menus. I can't. You got to have the perfect. You got to have what they want you to put in.
Yeah. Oh, wow. The Herbert
But
gem rate on the silver is 16%. Ugh.
wow,
That's a
you
tough one.
you got the trend over time showing right now.
No, this is just his
Okay.
overall for the card itself. Because my argument was going to be like we've submitted a bunch of 2020 Prism, that we've had good success with on getting 10s, and the gem rate on this is not good. Yeah, the stuff that we submitted. Where is it? Yeah, we did a bunch of stuff. Yeah, so we did a bunch of stuff with Justin Jefferson autos where we were able to grab them in really good shape, and the gem rates on those are 43%. So it's a much bigger difference than the 16% on the Herbie. So
No, he must have pissed off the backdoor meeting guy.
maybe Nat's a freaking Chiefs fan. I don't know.
Yeah, somebody's not a Herbert fan.
What else do we have for?
It's just fascinating that you can have cards that probably, what do you figure? They average in the 40 to 60% probably for most of the set.
Yeah, and then all of a
But then
sudden,
Herbert 16.
yeah. So the
I mean, maybe it's all the people literally shaking when they pull it and they scratch it to hell.
yeah, the
Making
overall
it 10.
gem rate for the set is 36%.
So that's still a big dip for one single card.
Yeah, it seems to be the lowest. It's the lowest card I can see.
Yeah, so he made somebody mad.
Everything else is like in the 40s. I mean, unless there was just a particular print run for that, that just sucks. But I
Or
mean,
where it was on the sheet. Maybe it was a corner card.
well, I guess the Burrow isn't much better. The Burrow silver is only 20%, Hurts 29, Tua 25, Justin Jefferson. It seems like all the guys from that year are poor because Brady's at 32.
Like, do you think it's
Mahomes,
just more submitted, more
yeah,
handled, more,
yeah. I mean,
passed through
I guess
hands?
those guys in that year. Yeah, so if you look at Herbert submissions, 974, Burrow 903, Hurts 583, Tua 513, and like you have Mahomes whose gem rate's 39%, but there's only 280 that were submitted. So you have guys taking shots much more frequently on the card.
Yeah, and that's a nice piece of data. Like, because how many times are you always wondering, man, I wonder how many refractors there are of this card, or how many, in this case, silver prisms are of this card. Now, and while we know not every card or nearly every card is getting graded, it's nice to know that a popular card, you have to figure a lot of them have been sent in. And at least that data on gem rate gives you an
Well,
idea of how many exist.
it gives you an at least, as far as
Yeah,
there's at least
exactly.
there's at least 974 silvers out there, at least, more than that obviously, but that means that's how many were submitted to PSA.
Yeah, I mean, stuff like that matters to me when I'm determining a card's value.
Yeah, because
Even a card's raw value, or
I mean, there's just not rare. It's not all that rare, as far as like its availability.
no, but it's a wildly popular collectible that everyone loves their silvers.
Yeah, but it's crazy just because I mean, there's at least I mean, you got to figure there's at least 2,000 of them, maybe more. I mean, 974 of them were submitted to PSA for grading, so I got to figure between what's still in boxes, what hasn't been submitted, you're talking at least another couple thousand of them that are floating around.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't think Beckett has the same kind of volume of this card, but I can certainly.
Yeah, there's probably a couple hundred that were submitted to Beckett, a couple hundred that were submitted to SGC, plus whatever's out there on the raw side, and whatever's still in. I mean, 2020 Prism boxes were super popular as far as people buying those as investments. So there's a
Mhm.
ton of those that are just sitting sealed. All right, let's keep it moving here. A couple others that we looked at from a grading standpoint were 2017 Mahomes. We talked about this card a bunch of times. This card is interesting as far as its raw sales. It literally all depends on condition. As far as perceived condition, this card has sold raw over the last 6 months anywhere from $350 to $900, which is crazy.
Wow.
PSA 9 on this, last sale 806. So even if you got to get it for $500. I mean, and his market is also interesting. Last few sales on September 24th, it sold for $1,000. September 25th, 960. September 27th, 925, and then September 28th, 806, and that was an auction. So it's
Wow.
definitely not moving in the right direction. And if it closes below, there's a sale below 800, it will be the lowest that this card has sold for in a year, or probably in two. Yeah, if this thing sells for less than $800, it'll be the lowest that it's sold for in more than 2 years.
Where's it going from here?
Let's look at the all-time data. Um, shit. If it, yeah, I mean, the last sale in this range, going all the way back to June 2020 was the last time it sold for less than $800, and that was on its way up during the pandemic push.
Right.
And this card could hit 500, 600 bucks again. PSA 9. And the pop's 2,500.
Yeah, that's high enough where I could see it going down. Yep.
I mean,
And just on a side note, I did a little researching for you. There's only been 156 of those Prism Silvers submitted to SGC and Beckett combined.
wow.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe there is less than 2 grand.
Mm, I think there's still probably a good amount of raw that's out there.
Oh, I don't doubt it. There's no way of knowing. You'd have to use some of the pack odds to your advantage there and see what you can extrapolate.
Yeah. So BGS 9, you may make a little bit of money. Um, SGC 9, same. SGC 9, BGS 9, PSA 9, all selling for roughly the same price, which is interesting. Seems to be some parity in the grading companies right now. So we might have to dust off some slab wars for next week. Um,
Oh,
so yeah, I mean, last sale for SGC 9 was 862. Last sale for BGS 9 was 870. And your last PSA 9 sale was 806. And they're all within like 4 or 5 days of each other. So it's interesting that your last sale, the cheapest of all companies, was PSA.
wow. All's right with the world.
That that would have been a first on the Slab Wars if we would have done that.
Love to see that trend continue.
We've never seen that happen. All right, let's keep moving. We talked about Brady before. Let's look at a
Uh, this guy's market.
little Bowman Chrome Tom Brady 2000. Raws on this obviously are all over the place, literally all over the place. Um, Last 6 months, this card has sold anywhere from 1275 to 3600 raw,
That's a big range.
which is nuts. You have
Yeah.
had multiple sales on raw cards over $3,000 in the last few months on this card. So your PSA 8 is basically your break even. So it's a chrome card. So being able to analyze it from the sake of it's not paper, so you have less condition issues. If obviously this is out of most people's budgets. We get that, but this may have to be where it's at as far as looking to make dollars. If you can find decent copies, if you can find stuff that looks centered on eBay and it doesn't have major issues, PSA 8 you're going to break even on this card. And PSA 9 you're going to double up on your money, provided you didn't spend $3,000 on the raw. The last sale for this PSA 9 was 35 and change. But even the Brady market, this sold in August for 5,000, and your last sale was 3,500. So that's a 30% drop in the market. And obviously PSA 10, it's a home run. You make a shit ton of money. But it's rare that you're gonna pull a 10.
You're picking that up in person.
Yeah, I mean, 11 grand. I mean, obviously that's a lot of money, but it's not like armored.
No, I mean finding it raw, that's a 10.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be.
You're not finding that on eBay.
No, you will not, unless the person that's put it up there is completely stupid. BGS 9, depending on what you buy it for, you should be profitable. There is no SGCs on here, so there's probably not a lot of them. So, the older markets, the GOATs, these guys, this card, there's possibilities there, but as far as finding something that may be PSA 9 worthy raw, you're going to have to get lucky, super lucky.
And to your point, you're always talking about, hitting shows. That's a card like this. That's where I'm going to probably have to pick it up, because I can't trust it on eBay.
Yeah, I get that, but at the same time, what dealer is selling a good condition raw Brady?
I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but if I'm going to pick one up and pay a few extra dollars on a certain card, or maybe meet his price, knowing the comps of the graded cards, I want to be holding that thing in my hand.
Yeah, where you're going to find this? Drive around Massachusetts and look at the obituaries, because some old guy or somebody died.
Real estate sales?
Yeah, and there's an estate sale, and it's find Jim Smith, 60 years old, died of whatever, leaves behind a wife, and here's the estate sale, was a huge Patriots fan.
There's got to be at least a dude out there that's 9 binder pages full of them.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. That's where you're potentially gonna find these, at a garage sale or an estate sale in Massachusetts. But as far as it shows, a dealer that's gonna put out a PSA 9 worthy Brady raw, I don't know, man. I think you're gonna be looking for a long time. I don't know. Take a look at eBay
Well, then why are we even looking at it?
I mean, just for the sake of just seeing where the values are. Take a look at eBay. See if there's anything up there, just out of curiosity. I mean, because these.
Someone had a refractor. I was actually looking at these the other day. So there was a refractor up the other day. I was like, damn, what's that going to go for? It must have been $15K or something.
Holy balls. The BGS 9 refractor sold for $46K.
Okay, then that's probably what I was looking at.
A month ago. PSA 9 in August, this thing sold for $60K. But in April, it was selling for $110.
Wow.
So, cash is a position. So we don't leave basketball out. Let's talk a little basketball. We'll look at one modern and one 2003 LeBron. For funsies, 2020 Anthony Edwards. And while I'm looking at basketball, just take a quick peek on eBay, see if there's any raw Bradys that are out there.
Okay.
For 2000 Bowman Chrome that are just either auctions or buy it now under 2,500. So Anthony Edwards, obviously, stud out of the 2020 class. Had a really good season last year. His raws on this selling for $150. PSA 9s selling for $230. actually run that through the calculator. I'm just curious if that'll break you even. Yeah. Yeah, so a 9 on this, if you buy it and if you bought it and sold it on eBay, you would make $7, and a 10 you'd make 700. Let's take a quick look at the gem rate. Basketball 2020 Prism. Gem rate's 40%, so that's not terrible. Looking for those Anthony Edwards Silver Raws versus the LaMelo. LaMelo Silver Prism rate is 12%. And there's actually more Anthony Edwards Silvers that were submitted. And here's some more data for you guys as far as silver pops. So there's 2,200 Anthony Edwards Silvers submitted.
Wow. And it's just 2020?
2020, same year as Herbie.
Wow, so you got to figure they're similar, right?
I would think so. So yeah, we're looking at 40% gem rate on the Edwards, so that may be something to look at. You can break even, make a little bit of money on the 9, and then obviously it's a home run with the 10. You bought the card for 150, you're in it for 217 with grading fees and eBay fees and shipping fees and all that. So you'd make $700 on a PSA 10. So it'd definitely be something to look at. Gem rate's decent, and your profitability's there. Only took us 7 cards to find this, but there's definitely opportunities like this out there. You gotta do the research, and you gotta dig through Card Ladder, Gem Rate, and all these things to find these opportunities. Because while I would do this for Edwards, I wouldn't do it for the LaMelo, because obviously there seemed to have been some sort of printing differential between the LaMelo and the Edwards, because one gem rate is 12% and the other's 40. That's a 3.5 time X difference as far as the gem rate's concerned.
And unless you're trying to create the artificial higher mark value for LaMelo by not gemming it well,
or the
more likely excuse is yes, the print quality just happens.
Or he was a dick and didn't sign cards. They're like, fuck him, let's print them all off center, and the gem rate's terrible.
Yeah, but then if the gem rate's terrible, the 10s go for more, and then you get talked about.
Let's see. So last Edwards sold for $935. Let's see what the last LaMelo sold for.
I actually think that might be tough to beat. As basketball fans shake their heads and go, "You have no idea what you're talking about."
That is accurate. Raw LaMelo 154, so that price is pretty much the same. And okay, so last PSA 10 sold for $1,500. $1,489.
Damn, yeah. Well, I mean, as it should, based on the scarcity and the gem report.
Yeah, so it's a 50% increase in the price, because there's 880 pop on the Edwards and only 189 on the LaMelo. So wow, it's almost 8 times the amount of Edwards and PSA 10s than there are LaMelos.
Right.
What's the PSA 9 going for on this? PSA 9. So there's an interesting difference. The PSA 9 selling for less than the raw. So I guess you have a bunch of people that are taking shots on that 10, but your gem rate's only 12%. So it's like, this is why you do your homework and not buy those raw, because the odds are well stacked against you, and you'd be upside down by $60 or $70 with a 9.
Right.
I'd rather be up $7 and only make 700 on the 10 versus being upside down 60 or 70 on the 9 for LaMelo, and then potentially making 1,300 instead of 700. Your risk reward is much better with Edwards versus LaMelo. All right, last but not least, my least favorite basketball player, Mr. LeBron James.
By the way, there's 3 Bradys at auction that don't start at like an absurd price.
2000 Bowman Chrome Brady's?
Yeah, your boy Probstein's got one ended in 9 days. That's
What,
$700.
what's the condition look like?
I didn't go
Decent?
crazy on that one. I looked at the one who put in their listing title "gorgeous." So
Okay.
I looked at that card. It's currently at 1,400 with 27 hours left. In the
1400?
it's at 1425, and in the condition section, he wrote white glove care.
Is it a PSA 8 or better?
Quick glance, I would say yes, but I got to study the centering a little better.
All right. Well, throw it on the watch list, guy. If you feel that it's an 8 or better, I may take. We may
Yeah,
di-
let's discuss it.
dig some pennies out of the couch and take a shot on it.
Yeah, and maybe Kurt's card care can show me how to alter the edges here and
Such
make
an
it a 10.
asshole. You are such an asshole. Shout out to Kurt. Kurt, it's not your fault. We still love half this podcast still loves you. Anyway, yeah, we have zero affiliation to Kurt. I was gonna try to have him on the show, but now if he actually
I'd like to talk to him.
yeah, but if he actually goes back and
civilly.
listens to previous episodes, he's like, this guy's a dick, and I'm not going on their fucking show.
Not really. I don't even know the guy. Got to hear what he has to say before I can make the determination.
Yeah, you've already flamed him multiple times on this podcast.
Right, you got to talk to the man himself.
Yeah, well, I could have done that had you not been an asshole already.
Nah, he don't care.
Okay, guy. Anyway.
It's actually, if he could shoot me down, it's better for him.
Yes, I would agree, but if you watch any of his content, it's not the type of dude that he is. He's not the confrontational type of guy. He just kind of wants to play with his cards, and, that's it.
Yeah, well, listen, if business is good, he's not going to talk to me.
I'm sure. I mean, I think he's probably doing pretty well.
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
Seems like he is.
Yeah, he's doubled his Instagram following in the last month or so. Anyway,
and that means people are improving cards with what he's teaching them. So, or else you wouldn't hear about him.
Yeah, well, once again, I would have liked to have him on this podcast, and if he goes back and listens to previous episodes,
I'm allowed to have the opinion though that he's altering cards.
I get it.
That's not knocking him.
Get it.
He's making money. I'm not standing in anybody's way to make money. You asked me the question: is it altering cards?
I will reach back out and I will see if he will willingly come on the show.
Let's get Kurt and Nat on the show together.
Oh God, I think we already used our one Nat card to get him on this podcast. We don't exactly have the sports card nonsense size audience. Anyway, let's freaking land this plane here and fucking wrap up.
Yes, your boy LeBron.
All right, so this is interesting. If you look at LeBron's, also similar to Brady, the range on this card 524.
What are we looking at?
2003 Topps Chrome. To over 3,000. So July of 2022 was the low on the raw at 524. This card is raw sold for more than 3,000 multiple times, and actually the high is September 24, 2022 at 3,400 on the raw, which is bananas. Which means it obviously was a super clean copy, and let's see, where did that sell? It sold at auction on eBay. Ew. This card is not something I would have spent $3,500 on. It's not centered by a mile. Like, the card is off center by a mile. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see this. I mean, the left side is fat to no end. There is no way that you're submitting this thinking you're going to get a 10. Or even a 9 for that matter. I mean, the centering is bad. Even the back is also off-centered.
Well, then that means it should go to Arena Club.
I mean, I don't know why somebody would have spent that kind of money on this card. There appears to be corner condition issues. And it was an auction too, so it wasn't like somebody tried to pump it. I mean, maybe they showed the auction, but and this thing closed for $3,400, and it was nowhere near something that I would look at. And right off the bat, it looks, 8 maybe. PSA 10 on this card going for 8,500. PSA 9, 1,850. I mean, you paid double almost what a 9 is going for.
Yeah, and it's not like you could take nice pictures of this and people are going to pay you thinking they're going to get a 10. It clearly isn't a 10. So
I
I don't,
mean,
I don't, I don't know what was being thought of there.
yeah, so it just goes to show you, pay attention. I mean, normal raw on this 800 to 1,200 is your normal range for the last 6 months. Six to 600 to 1,200 ish. Which is fine because if you get a 9, you're in business. You're gonna make money. The 9s have been basically sideways in that like 1,800 to $2,000 range. Where are the eights? Even the 8s, if you get it at 800, you can still make a few bucks. So there's opportunities there on this card, but you just can't overpay on raw, and especially this card. The thing you got to keep in mind the most is the centering. Centering and corners. Obviously, surface you're not going to be able to see a whole lot other than some scratches. But the centering is the big one because it's got the border. It's got the big bright white border. All right. Anything else while we're here?
No, guy, I don't think so.
All right, another jumbo episode, hour and 15 minutes here. We've been
Yeah, I saw last week was like an hour 26 or
yeah,
something.
we've been going long. We're making up for the episodes that we missed. We throw an extra 15, 20 minutes on each episode and make up for the episodes that we missed.
Yeah,
Next,
all that premium content.
yes, exactly. Next week we got a new segment that we're gonna be rocking. Hopefully you guys like it. We'll reveal it next week. Can't have anybody stealing our content ideas. And once again, I waited till the end to give you the email address. So the 17 of you that are still listening, when you get to the end, info@sportscardadvantage.com if you want to send us any questions, or you can message us, tag us on Twitter or Instagram, SportsCardADBTG. And that's it. You got anything else for the fine folks?
No, sir.
All right, 76 in the books.